Peer pressure is the influence by peers encouraging a person to change his or her attitudes, beliefs, values, or even behavior. The yearning to fit in is so strong that teens will do almost anything and everything to be accepted by their peers. If a person does not go along with the pressure exerted by their peers, they are isolated and or ridiculed. Now let's see what Saunders students have to say.
I do think that there's negative and positive peer pressure because the negative side could be peer pressuring people to do something that they don't want to do or something that's bad. And the positive, people could pressure people into doing something that they know that the person can do better, like homework and projects and things like that.
There is both positive and negative peer pressure, and it all depends on the person you are and who you hang out with. If you hang out with people who you know are going to pressure you into doing negative things, such as skipping class or substance abuse or alcohol or whatever the case may be, then that can be an issue. The positive side is if you're with a group of friends and let's say they're on student council or something where they represent and they're like a role model for the school and they convince you to join like extracurricular activities, then that can be a more positive side of the peer pressure.
The worst experience of peer pressure that I had was when I was young, hanging out with older people, and they tried to force me into doing alcohol at parties with them, and I told them that I'm not into that, and I basically just left and I stopped hanging out with them.
Okay. I haven't really experienced a lot of peer pressure at Saunders, mostly just the typical, hey man, you want to skip class? Like, not really. Sounds good.
An experience I had with peer pressure did not occur at Saunders. It was at one of my previous high schools. And there was a couple of girls, and they convinced me to skip grade 10 mathematics class. I was only in grade 10, but I did not skip. I ended up going anyways because it was a week before our exam. And I remember there was a lot of pressure because they're like, oh, you chickened out, you didn't show up, blah, blah, blah. And some of the language I can't repeat what they said to me. The one girl was actually following the other girl, telling her what to do. It wasn't really her idea to do it. It was someone else's, so I found that out afterwards. And to begin with, I don't like to hang out with people who pressure me to do negative things. I like to kind of stand my ground, take it in stride kind of thing. It all depends on the person you are.
I think peer pressure is a major issue because lots of kids try to get other kids to do things like weed and everything, and sometimes kids don't know what to do and they just do it and they get themselves in lots of trouble.
However, I do think that peer pressure is a problem in high schools.
I think it used to be more of an issue, but not so much anymore. They always teach it in schools, like in public school, like you need to be aware of peer pressure, but I don't think it's much of an issue anymore.
I do feel that peer pressure is a major issue in high school, especially among the more younger, vulnerable types of people, when they cannot stand their ground and they're not able to know who they are. Sometimes if they come from bad home lives or bad relationship problems or anything of the sort, they can not make the wisest choices, or they may run in the opposite direction. If they've been raised in a bad life, they could be like, oh, I don't want to be like that person, and make wise choices. So it all depends on the person, where you come from, who you are, and the most important thing is just to stand your ground, take it in stride.
Peer pressure affects the majority of high school students today, even when we don't know it is a major issue. But it always depends on who you are and how you deal with it. Thank you for all the students who are able to share their opinions and experiences.